Commander. We've been hit by one of those space anomalies.
Buddy?
And the piloting system is down.
Buddy?
The astrogator's gears are shot!
Get a hold of yourself. You're an Earth Directorate agent.
Affirmative, Commander.
I'm way more excited for The Outer Worlds 2 now that I've played a little bit of it. Even though the demo Obsidian sent only contained the sci-fi RPG's prologue area, think the Nautiloid from Baldur's Gate 3, but more substantial than that particular tutorial, there was enough in the 30 to 45 minutes of gameplay that really impressed me. Enough, in fact, to sustain 3 playthroughs with different builds. I liked but didn't love the first game in 2019, but The Outer Worlds 2's opening has me thinking this one's headed in the right direction. As long as the team at Obsidian can sustain the mechanical freedom and reactivity I saw over the course of a full game. The Outer Worlds 1 ends with you determining the political future of a solar system of human colonies that's been mysteriously cut off from contact with Earth for some time. I was wondering how the studio would handle that variety of end states, and they cleverly sidestepped the issue by expanding the setting in a big way. It turns out the first game's system of Halcyon was a basket case backwater, while a heroism yet to be fully verified, Earth Federation administers to a galaxy of semi-isolated, politically heterogeneous colony systems. Our protagonist, a new one, not the character from the first game, is an Earth-fed captain on a mission to a secretive, autocratic solar system that also happens to be the exclusive manufacturer of faster-than-light engines. The zany capitalist malfeasance of the first game's corporations has been turned in for a kooky cult of personality with a penchant for brainwashing. I really dig the premise, moving in the direction of weirder, bigger sci-fi. Also, The Outer Worlds 2 just feels more expensive than anything Obsidian's made in a hot minute. It's not just the great art direction and shiny Unreal Engine 5 graphics, which it shares in common with this year's earlier Avowed. There's a lot of little touches that feel premium. Pre-rendered intro cinematic, a variety of unique animations and angles and conversations, no Oblivion stare here, they're keeping it to a minimum, and way more in-engine cutscenes than I expected, like when you're dropping out of your spaceship onto the station where the prologue takes place. There's this cinematic like hut 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 as they're running out of the ship. It helps explain why Microsoft briefly thought it might get away with an $80 price tag before backing off on The Outer Worlds 2. Character creation in the demo is kind of just hitting the 2020's AAA par, on the aesthetic front at least. There's all the hair and eye options that you could want, and all the sliders you could ask for, and if you really want to go Monster Factory mode you can, but you probably won't make an Uggo on accident. Although my colleague Wes Fenlon correctly pointed out that I accidentally made Jared Leto with one of my guys, and Johnny Karate has been forever sullied by this association. I mostly bring up character creation because I really dug the robot prosthetic options. You have 3 robo-limb aesthetics to choose from for each of your arms and legs, ranging from gunmetal skeleton hands to this swanky ivory ensemble like a swagged out Adam Jensen or, the rich people you'd run into in Deus Ex Human Revolution. It's a bit of sci-fi flair I really love, and something I was always missing in Cyberpunk 2077, which otherwise I think has a much better character builder. The Outer Worlds 2 is more streamlined than the first game in terms of stats and skills, but not in a way that I minded as a fan of complicated RPGs. You don't have attributes anymore, and at character creation you pick a background, 1 or 2 positive traits, a negative trait to balance out a second positive trait if you grabbed one, and 2 tagged skills, or 3 with one of the traits, which gives you an extra one and is probably the most OP and essential. It is a reduction in complexity compared to the first game, but not necessarily depth, I don't think. The skills look like they're kind of on a smaller scale, maybe 1 to 10, as opposed to the first game's 0 to 100, like in Fallout, but each rank seems to offer you more. Each rank can open up way more environment and dialogue skill checks. It's not like how in, New Vegas you've got to hit like 75 barter to hit a unique dialogue option. It's more like, hit 3 barter, but you're not getting skill points very often. At least going off of the demo. And that design sensibility is the thing that honestly had me most excited from what I played. We're not quite in full Deus Ex or Dishonored territory, but I saw a lot of immersive sim-style design that always really makes me happy in an RPG. This prologue reminded me of the design in Obsidian's criminally underrated Alpha Protocol, but way more polished than an Alpha Protocol, or the better New Vegas quests like Beyond the Beef, or Cyberpunk's side gig infiltrations that, give you a lot of options with how you proceed. I played through the demo 3 times, twice going sneaky, 1 time loud, and I had a different skill setup each time to poke and prod at the different options. The straight gunplay was satisfying enough, sort of like Fallout 4. It's a little stiff, but it feels good, but there wasn't anything surprising or crazy fun. It wasn't like playing a boomer shooter or Doom. But the returning bullet time mechanic definitely spices things up a bit. And there is one caveat that the Outer Worlds 1 was all about really weird, wacky guns. I think there was a shrink ray, strange effects like that, and the demo only offers a pistol, a rifle, a dagger, and an electric baton, which does not seem indicative of the full game. So louder combat might be better than I'm giving it credit for here. Going full stealth mode and ghosting the demo, meanwhile, was way more fun for me. It doesn't look like the Outer Worlds 2 will support full pacifist playstyles. The first room in the sneaky route of the demo, there was a guard who was just kind of staring straight at the doorway, and the game hadn't given me the throw this distraction tool yet, so the only option was to kill him to get past. But there wasn't a single point in the demo where I was forced into a fight because enemies spawned in automatically alerted to my presence. There were points where it's like, oh my gosh, there are enemies coming into this room, but they aren't in the alert mode yet, so you can actually hide and stealthily take them out, which was great. I think the cardinal sin of RPGs that let you build sneaky, then punish you for it, is forcing you into fights like that. And I was really just pleasantly surprised at how many skill checks were just scattered in both dialogue and the environments. Science, engineering, and a few traits enabled access to explosive traps and environmental interactions, poking around at a deactivated security mech, while lockpicking and hacking both offered up pathways around enemies to help with stealth. There was usually like a high or low path through most kind of sneaky encounters that might be opened up with a skill. Using a dialogue check over an intercom to convince this hapless guard to disable some security made him recognize my voice and distrust me when I ran into him in person later on and needed him to lower a bridge for me. If I couldn't make a second speech check to trade bridge access for a side quest to erase all his demerits off his permanent record, I could always just lockpick a nearby door to open up a completely separate path around him instead, which I found really interesting. I could also just provoke him into sicking security robots on me, and in a critical design failure, that also lowered the bridge because the robots had to cross it. But going loud like that would actually earn a scolding from my Federation contact who was undercover in the facility. And all throughout the demo, traits, skills, and my background unlocked proactive dialogue choices and unique offhand remarks that made it feel very reactive. And, think about how much people reference your race and class in Baldur's Gate 3. This is a style of scripted, authored reactivity that Obsidian has always excelled at. And in this prologue portion of The Outer Worlds 2, it felt like my build and dialogue choices could offer a radically different experience each time through. Avowed caught a lot of flack for being a straight-up action RPG in a sort of Mass Effect mold while having this first-person perspective that people usually associate with more open-ended gameplay. I think that was unfair. I love Avowed for what it is, but The Outer Worlds 2 feels like it could offer more of that sort of immersive sim RPG style of game. And now it's just a question of whether Obsidian was able to sustain or even expand on the really exciting design I saw in the prologue over the course of a full game north of 30 or 40 hours long.